Hey everyone, Joey with Radon Eraser here. Do you know what radon gas is? You might not. It is a radioactive gas that builds up from naturally depleting uranium in the ground. How do you get rid of that? Well, the bad news is you can't get rid of it all. But what you can do is mitigate to a safe level. So what we're going to do today is show you how to mitigate on a slab system. So what we have right here behind us is a mother-in-law suite. The mother-in-law suite came out to about a 4.3 picocuries per liter of air. That is an extremely detrimental level. The EPA recommends that you should have less than a 2.3 in an interior area. Now the interesting thing about this home is we have a crawl space and a slab. The crawl space came out to a safe level 1.3, no big deal. Here, different story. So what we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to, right here behind us is the location where we're going to install our mitigation system. With the mother-in-law suite being right here, then we're as close as we can get to try to get that gas out from underneath there. And this is the best location to expel the gases that we're going to pull out from the ground. So what we're going to do, we're going to pierce the slab right here behind us. We're going to bring it up to a dedicated electrical system that we provide. You do not have to reach out to an electrician to take care of that. Then we are going to go up and we're actually going to go out the eave of the home on this side and try to get above the soffit. Now the client today has said they may not want that pipe going up on the outside of the home because that can be ugly. The beauty of this is as long as we are more than 10 feet off of the ground, we are at safe levels to expel radon gas. So we're going to do a couple of instruction videos today. We're going to try to walk through how we actually install this, why we do it, because the most important thing for Radon Eraser is that you and your family is safe, happy, and healthy. So stay tuned.
Hey, Scott here with Radon Eraser. We're going to go through the procedures of how we actually do our install for our radon mitigation system. This is our radon fan. It's going to go right here in this area. We've mounted this 2x4 here so we can have something for our mounting bracket to go to, which our fan has come with a custom mounting bracket that will look really nice once we get this mounted up here in the space in the garage. So we want to make sure everything's nice and level. We always try to make everything look as nice and neat as possible for our clients. That way they don't have some kind of eyesore just hanging out in their garage. People come over and see it and say, what in the world is that? And well, it's going to look real nice and neat once we get all this buttoned up. So we're just going to go ahead and get our mounting bracket set here. Alright, so there's our bracket for our fan. Now, this fan comes with all of our screws that we need to mount the actual fan to the bracket. So we'll go ahead and get that set up here. We're not going to tighten everything down just yet. We're just going to get everything kind of set up. As we're going through this, you know, we have to piece PVC together coming up out of our pit in the ground to the fan and then up and out. So we kind of keep everything loose so we can kind of work things in where we need to. And then we'll tighten everything back down at the end. Now this fan mounting bracket actually came with some anchors to mount it to, but in this situation we're not necessarily going to have to use those. So we can just roll with what we got here. Now the reason we're putting this up here first is so that we know exactly where our pipe needs to come down for our hole that we're going to drill in the concrete slab. For our pit where we're going to be drawing air from underneath the slab to be able to expel the radon gas. So this will be step one. Alright, step one complete. We'll be moving on to our next step, which will be laying out where our core is going to be with our Husqvarna core drilling. Stay tuned.
One of our main goals is to make our installs aesthetically pleasing. So what we try to do is dry fit everything and make it nice and clean and straight. So for those that don't know, this is 3-inch Schedule 40 PVC, or if you're a professional, polyvinyl chloride. So what we have going on here, a lot of people don't know how to keep this stuff straight and in line. So how do you know if two 45s are going to actually equal a 90-degree turn? What if it's turned wrong? So if you look real close, each fitting will have these little bitty sections on it that are marked. So all pipe will have this stamp on it right here. So what we try to do is line our little scratch marks, or whatever you want to call them, little tick marks, up, so that way we know it's going to be perfectly straight. So if we keep them on this piece of solid piping, then we know it's going to be exactly as it should. So what we're going to do here, we've already mounted our fan. We went through that already. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to mock up, or not permanently install here. So I'm actually going to turn this a little bit to get it behind here, because obviously he has a cabinet door behind us here, so we want him to be able to access his area. So what we're going to do, we're going to mate this together and put a coupling on it so it holds it tight right here for just now. So what do we do those with? They're called Fernco couplings. Now you can get a spruce coupling from Radon Away, or any Radon manufacturer offers those, but they're about 3 times the cost of these, and these are just as good. There's no difference other than one's black and one's white. No difference. So after we get that mounted right here, it'll be able to hold this, and then we're going to plumb bob down, meaning we're going to find the dead center of this area and mark it on the slab down there, and then we're going to set up a drill and try to punch through this slab, start getting some radon out of here. So that's it for this part right here. Next video, we're actually going to have everything marked out already, and then we'll start our drilling process, so stay tuned. Initially, what we've done is we've hooked our pipe up, and we've got our little X on the floor right there. Now we've spun the pipe out of the way. This is not its permanent location, but what we are going to do is take our Milwaukee. Why do we use Milwaukee? It's got an anti-vibe system on it. It can shake, it can shimmy, it can rock and roll, and we have little to no fatigue. So what we're going to do, we're going to place this bad boy right on our X, and then we're going to start drilling. Now that's a little loud, so let me take this microphone off. Stay tuned.
All right, so we've drilled our pilot hole through our concrete slab. The reason we do this with this, our Milwaukee SDS drill, the reason we do that prior to using our Husqvarna core driller is we want to try to figure out how deep we need to go through the concrete, like how deep is the concrete pour on the slab. We also want to try and figure out what kind of substrate we have underneath the concrete, what kind of material is underneath there, whether it be gravel, dirt, more rock. Sometimes we run into that. Today we got lucky. We got through the slab, and our substrate is all loose gravel, which it should be if it's built correctly. So when we go to once we get our hole dug, we have to excavate a pit underneath this concrete slab. And when we have a gravel substrate, that makes it a lot easier on us, because it's much easier to remove that gravel as opposed to dealing with hard packed red clay or large rock or deeper concrete. So we're going to get our core driller set up, and we'll go ahead and punch through the slab and start excavating our pit.
Okay, everyone, so a lot of companies that do radon mitigation come in and cut a section of your slab out. They do that so it's easier for them to excavate the material from underneath the slab. It's perfectly acceptable. But what you end up with is a different color of concrete, or a different texture, a different smoothness. At Radon Eraser, we like to use a core driller. Our core driller is set up to where it'll pierce that slab, and then once we put our fitting around our pipe, you will never know that there was any type of difference in your slab. We try to be as less invasive as we possibly can, because aesthetics really matter during the purchase or sale of a home. So what we do, a lot of other companies that use core drillers, they may come in and bolt their core driller to the ground so it doesn't spin on them. But if you know your tool and you know how to use your tool, what we like to do is put our wheels up against the wall, because if this machine were to catch, well, that would be detrimental to the operator. So what we do is put it right there, and if it does catch, it spins and hits the wall right there and stops. It gives us time to safely shut the machine off and extract that bit from the slab itself. So the point of this video is we will not drill unwanted holes in your slab. We will not cut unwanted swashes out of your slab. We will try to leave it the way it was when we got there. So we're just going to keep rocking and rolling and see how much we can get done here. So this is basically a two-man process right here. What I am going to be doing while Scott is drilling, once I put these on, Scott's going to be drilling. What I'm going to be doing is adding water to his bit. That way it cuts a lot easier and there's less friction on the blade. Now, a lot of people like to hook their core driller up to a water hose. You can flood a floor so quick, and the problem with that is once it pierces the slab, all that water goes down in the hole, and then you've got a mess you've got to clean up and get out of. So what we have determined, it's easier for us to use just a little battery powered sprayer with a little bit of water in it, and Scott will engage the system and start drilling, and then I will add water and suck debris at the same time and try to keep it as clean as we can. So here's what we're going to be doing here, everyone. So we've started our core driller. So a lot of people ask, why do you do the hole? We explained that in the last video. But what we're about to do right now is make it easy for us to get the concrete core out of the core driller. So what Scott's going to do is take a 5/16 SDS Plus bit in our Milwaukee anti-vibe little SDS Plus drill here. He's going to go about every ½ inch all the way around that hole to get all the way through the slab. That way when the core driller pierces it through, it does two things. It helps the core driller do its job, and secondly, it helps us get that core out of there. That way we don't damage our core drill bit. So let's just see what we're about to do here. So basically what this has done for us, everyone, is make it where it's going to be a lot easier for us to drill. Number one, Scott's already gotten so much of that material busted loose of the slab, so instead of cutting a solid ring, we're cutting individual little holes out. So that helps us. It prolongs the life of our tool and our equipment and makes for a much easier job. So we've talked about the pit and what we've got to do or why the pit is there. Radon gas is very heavy, so it needs a spot to lay low in. So what we do is excavate that material and get us a low-lying spot. So then how do we get the radon out of the hole? It just doesn't get itself out of there. So what we do is run some PVC piping underneath the slab, and then we'll seal that all up so we get a nice airtight fit around this. So there's a bunch of different things, like I was talking. Someone can cut a piece of concrete out and submerge a box or a pit down in there. After doing over 250 radon installs, this is what I like to do. So what I'm doing here is that pipe, if you just set a pipe like this down in a pit, well, it's not got any suction anywhere. It could actually suck the gravel up through and get into the fan, and all kinds of bad stuff can happen. So with this, once I put that in the ground and it rests at the bottom of the pit, we have a low area for this pipe to draw gas through these 1-inch holes that I've drilled all the way around the pipe. So we'll mock this up just real quick here. This is all dry fit, nothing is done yet. So basically, once that's all mounted nice and tight, you can kind of see once we engage our fan and turn everything on, we're sucking air directly out of the slab. So then what we do is we're going to pump this up through another piece of PVC piping that goes up and out, exits the home right up here out of the eave. And as long as we're 10 feet in the air, we will be a good 14 feet in the air here at least. That gives the gas enough time to dissipate and not be a detriment to anyone else. So another reason we've selected this side of the house is there's no living area or air infiltration on this side of the home. So once that gas gets out of this fan and out of that pipe, it can't make re-entry into the home. That's the most important thing about radon mitigation. You can't put a radon discharge pipe 3 to 5 feet away from an open window or even a vented soffit. At that point, you're taking the radon out of the slab and putting it right back into your house, into your living areas. So that's a bad deal. We can go into what stack effect is, but if you're worried about radon and you're Googling that, you need to Google the word stack effect directly after that and see how the air inside of your home actually comes from underneath. It's very important that everyone know what that is and pay attention to it. So now what we are going to do, we are going to go ahead and mate all of our piping together. We do glue all of our piping with a primer and a cement. This is for PVC, as you can see, PVC solvent cement. This, the EPA recommends that any installation be glued and primered, with the exception of where the fan is fitted. The fans only come with a 3 to 5 year warranty, so it's very important that you can disconnect this without having to cut the pipe. So if this fan goes out in 3 to 5 years, our clients call us, or before that, our clients call us, and then our warranty will kick in and say, hey, we'll order one of these from the manufacturer because we keep all the information on the fans in our records. That way our clients don't have to worry about it. We just replace this fan. We would unscrew this and unscrew this, pop the fan out, put a brand new fan in, and again, it takes us 15 minutes to do a replacement and about 4 to 6 hours to actually do this system. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and finish the install out here, and then we'll work on electrical. So the system has been installed. Last video that you guys got to see was us actually putting everything in place. So now the system's been in place and we've come back to the structure. As you can tell, I might be wearing something a little different. So what we do, why are we back here? Because we need to make sure the radon is out of the house. So beautiful thing today, this little section of the home right here had a 4.3. Today it has a 1.2. That is well below the inside safe area that the EPA recommends. So let's talk about how we got it out of there. So what we've done is, as you've seen, we drilled through the slab. Now what we've done is secure a coupling down here and siliconed everything in nice and tight so we get a vacuum coming out of there. So as it comes up, it goes into our fan. The fan pulls the air out of the basement or out of the slab and then pushes it up and goes outside and around the soffit. So really nice and simple. You can see this thing is never going anywhere, which is beautiful. So now let's talk about a couple of the components. What we have going on right here, as you can see, I wanted everyone to see this is a proper electrical outlet. We have it grounded and the polarity is correct. So what we're going to do is pull that out of here. This is a ground fault circuit interrupter. What happens in the event of an overload scenario, it trips itself off. So the beauty of it is we put the ones with the green lights on them. That way all you have to do is glance over here and you can see that it is operable. So this runs to a dedicated series that's in the service panel. This is actually connected up in the attic, so we're not going to go through that minutia. But what we've done is put a tandem breaker in the service panel. And as you can see, tandem breakers have 2 power. So what this is actually doing is allowing us to not take up any of the homeowner's electrical spaces where his breakers are. So we just removed one that had 1 switch on it and put one that has 2 on it. Beautiful system, nice and easy. So this is providing power to the fan. Now the fan's pulling out. So how do we know as installers, is it working correctly right off the bat? And what I'm going to do is step aside so we can get a little video of what's called a manometer. So this, with the blue fluid in it, is a manometer. So what you do is you level this fluid out to 0 and then turn the fan on. And as you can see, it has sucked this way. So this pipe is actually has a hose that goes to the manometer. So it sucks. As it's sucking the air out, this is telling us how much air we're moving. So as you can see, we're well above that 1 right there, which is telling us that it's working properly. Now, if it did not move at all, that means we don't have enough air movement under the slab. And if this were to shoot straight up here, then we have a blockage somewhere and the air is not moving through, so it acts like a vacuum and just sucks this blue stuff out of here. So you can always look over at one of our systems and look right here and see that it's working. You can check that GFCI, make sure it's working. And here's something else. We label all these so you can see this little black arrow right here. And this sticker says, hey, if this fluid is level here, please give us a call or reach out to us on our website right here. So really, guys and gals, that is it. It is not a very complex system by any means, but it is a very important system and extremely detrimental if you don't have it. So thank you for tuning in and watching this video. But if anyone has any questions, concerns, comments, please reach out to us at support@radoneracer.com or just give us a call at area code 423-92-RADON. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.